Hola con todos y bienvenidos a un nuevo podcast aquí en Urbina Studio. En esta oportunidad tenemos dos invitados realmente de lujo. Sus nombres son Vale y David. Ellos son cofundadores de Dava, una empresa de video marketing que se especializa en trabajar con creadores de contenido y han logrado la hazaña de $1 millón en su primer año operando. Entonces los hemos traído acá, por supuesto, para que compartan con nosotros su conocimiento, sus tips y las mejores tácticas que les han funcionado para hacer esto posible y compartirlo sobre todo con toda la comunidad. Así que espero que les guste un montón este contenido. Hay un dato no menor, que es que Vale y David no hablan muy bien español, así que toda la entrevista va a estar en inglés. Si es que no saben muy bien el idioma, no se preocupen, que este video va a estar subtitulado para que puedan entenderlo a la perfección y no se burlen mucho de mi inglés, que todavía no está perfeccionado al 100%. Así que espero que les guste muchísimo esto y sin ya más preámbulo vamos directamente con la entrevista. Hey, Vale, David, how are you?
Hey, Daniel, we're doing fantastic. Thanks for the introduction as well.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation to the podcast.
No, guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So let's start with your story. I'm pretty curious about it. So did you already know when you were young that you want to be an entrepreneur? And have you maybe tried any other projects before Dava?
So I would say that all of high school, Vale was always an entrepreneur. He actually, we both went up to Los Angeles and filmed for big YouTubers like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Yes Theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so we were just editors up there. And then eventually we ended up coming back because we were 17, 18, young, and wanted to come back to see our family. And then I would say we went to college for about a semester or two. I'm a year older than him, so I went a little longer than he did. And that's when Vale sent me a text message that said, "Hey, David, I'm tired of this paycheck to paycheck. Let's do this, man. Let's start this business." It's like, okay, and I've always been very narrow vision on the things I want to do. So I never fell behind. I always caught up and did my part of the work as well.
Oh, that's great. But what about your projects before Dava? What did you try and why it didn't work? What are the mistakes maybe you made, but actually there are lessons too. So can you tell me a little more about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we've tried it all. We have tried vending machines, Amazon business, selling products. We've really tried it all.
Drop shipping. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that we've learned so far is dedicate all your time into what you're good at. We tried all these things that we had no idea how to do. And so, throughout our process from building this to $0 to over $1 million, it's really been focus on one product or one service and make it the best it can be above anything else. The customers will come if the product or service is good. And I stand by that 100%. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a one-hit wonder. We definitely tried and failed many times.
Yeah.
We actually have footage of a ton of candy for our vending machine that we never ended up using because it's just a lot of failed businesses.
Yeah.
This is the one that worked.
Amazing. So what you mean when you're saying that you have to focus on what you're pretty good at and be the best at it, you only work with creators, right? You only make these videos and thumbnails just for content creators like YouTubers, etc., right?
So we work with some of the biggest YouTubers and smallest YouTubers, but we're also working with a lot of businesses as well. I would say we're probably 90% YouTubers and 10% businesses.
Okay.
I
get it. But how do you sell your services? I mean, do you have a sales team or what kind of strategy do you use?
Yeah, so we have both actually. We have an in-house sales team that is helping our new customers that are finding us. And we're also doing a lot of marketing on Facebook and Google ads, where a lot of customers can find us. But I think really what's helped us the most is in 2020, we focused on being the best and building the best service. And that alone has gone so much further than anything else we've done. And let me explain why, right? Because 2020, we became so good and the biggest creators were trusting Dava, they were trusting us, we were popping up everywhere, right? Everyone knows who Dava is. We're the number one subscription-based video editing company in the world right now. And so that has helped, that credibility has helped us more than these Facebook ads and our sales team. But we can't close our deals without our sales team, right? So there's a lot of pieces that come to it. But credibility has helped us so much in finding new customers, because at this point they're finding us now.
And just by jumping into our website, you'll see what the amount of creators that we work with and all the different type of niches as well, right? We have, up to 20 million subscribers and as low as to 5 to 10, right? 30 million subscribers. So that's where the legitimacy comes. Like if these big creators with the budget, of any budget in the world they have are picking us, why shouldn't you, right? And that's helped us out tremendously as well with our marketing.
Okay, I know what you mean. But at first, how did you convince these creators, big creators, to work with you, What strategy did you use for this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say when you're starting out, maybe just try sending a message to one of the creators that you want to work with, or potentially a customer that you want to work with. Just shoot them a message. That the worst that they can say is no.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. When you're first starting out, you need to be talking to people. If you're not talking to nobody, you're making no money. So talk to people, talk to as many people as you can.
Especially just getting started, something that I advised on Walla's TikTok if you haven't seen it. But what we did to help us out too is we actually worked and made a video in exchange for a testimonial.
Yeah.
So basically we'll say, hey, we'll help you with this content, but send us over a testimonial and tell us how your experience went. And once we had testimonials, that really helped us get started. So that helped us out tremendously.
That's so interesting. But how did you reach these creators? I mean, through through email, through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. What medium did you use in order to this purpose?
It was a variation of Instagram DMs and even emails as well, depending on the creator.
Facebook, yeah. Just look, these big creators, they're having messages every single day.
Exactly.
Okay. They're busy. They have sponsorships. They have little kids that are reaching out. You got to stand out. And if you're sending one message, you're probably not going to reach them. Send as many messages as you can. At the end of the day, again, don't be afraid of being told no. It's going to happen hundreds of times. Send messages everywhere.
We would follow up like 5 or 6 times before someone would respond to us. And eventually they do. They're like, hey, sorry, I was busy. We get it. It's okay to be busy, but hey, I'm glad you responded now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying. So now I have another question, and it's about the breaking point, So at first, when you are just starting, you do everything, right? You do sales, operations, finances, etc. Everything is done by you. But in your case, what was that breaking point where you said, okay, it's enough, we have to start hiring people?
It's funny because when I'm about to tell you what I'm going to tell you, it feels like it's reversed, it's backwards. But let me explain why we did this, right? So we brought on a good amount of clients and we said, hey, we need help with editing, right? And so we hired an employee to help us edit these clients' videos. But what happened is we started losing clients.
Okay.
At the time, we were all so busy editing videos that we couldn't find any more clients. So what we did, when we were losing money, we hired 2 more employees, right? 2 more employees when we're losing money, when we're just starting out, right? Everyone's gonna say, oh, this is so dumb, why? Well, guess what? We took all the work off of our hands and we spent all our time finding clients. That helped us so much at the beginning, just really to break through those doors.
There was even times that we would work like double shifts. We'd be working till way late at night because, for the first beginning of the day, we'd be helping on editing. And the last half of the day, we'd like, all right, it's grind time. Let's get these clients. And we'd sit down and reach out to creators that we wanted to work with. And it was just a rinse and repeat for many, many times. And for a while, it was slow growth because it was like, we brought in all these clients. Now we're both editing and we don't have time to grow. But eventually we started to having more editors than work we needed. So that's when we could dedicate all of our attention into growing. And then eventually that's when our sales team comes in, where we don't even have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. But so at first, you start hiring people to edit the videos, right? So do the operative job, right? And you were responsible for sales. But in what point you start to actually build a sales team, and why?
So the sales team, we built it from scratch, right? We didn't know too much about sales. And so we really went on this mission to learn how to sell our product. And the big thing first is obviously you got to believe in your product. If you can't sell it to yourself, you can't sell it to anybody. But when we really first started building our sales team was probably 7-8 months ago. A sales team is what helped us take this from $100,000 to over $1 million. We couldn't do it without a sales team, because these guys are constantly, all day, every day, looking for new customers. That's how they make money, right? But it was probably only like 8 months ago where we really started hiring for sales teams, sales reps that can help us sell our products.
Even then, so our main sales guy, Karsten, he came in knowing that there was no structure at all. It's not like I hired someone, it's like, hey, everything's set up like you do at any other job. Here's your training, let's just get this done with. He came in and we're like, we have no structure. The truth is we know how to bring in clients and we're gonna teach you, but now we need to find a way to scale this, because you're talking to a lot of people and you're doing this all day, so it can get very messy very quickly. So that's where we spent the last 6 to 8 months. Even till this day, we're still working on our sales department to clean it up as much as possible, just polishing it. But it gets very messy very fast when you're scaling.
Okay, this is pretty interesting, and I get it. But actually now I have another question, and it's about your value proposal, right? When you get into Dava website or your social media, the first thing you can see is unlimited video editing. And did you have this idea since you started this project, or it came up with months?
So it wasn't our plan to actually start a video editing business. At first, we wanted to be day traders. So we worked with creators that worked in the stock market, right? But what we were good at was YouTube. We're experts in YouTube. We know how to grow YouTube channels. So what we did in exchange for mentorship, we edited their videos full time. So, hey, I'm gonna edit your videos, upload it on YouTube, and help you grow on YouTube. We found so much success on growing their YouTube that they started recommending their friends. That's when we came up with the unlimited video editing module. We're like, every YouTuber, it sucks to pay per video. Wouldn't it be nice to just have a video editor in-house, just right there where you're like, hey, I need these videos done, right? And not have to worry about the price, right? And so that's where we came in. We're like, well, why don't we just set one set price? It's as if you hired in-house and your editor will be there ready to communicate and always available to make your videos.
Okay. And how do you handle this proposal? Because unlimited videos, it sounds almost risky, right? What happens if someone tells you, I want 1,000 videos? So how can you manage all these things?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get that question every single day. So, it's been a process to figure out. I mean, there's been times where someone sends us 30 videos and we would have to do it because we had no rules. We had no, rules in place. But what we do now is it's all based on turnaround time, right? Videos take us a certain amount of time to make, right? So let's say you send us 5 videos and they all take a good amount of time to edit. We can't get those back to you that same day because it's just not possible, right? But with a 2-day delivery time, that gives us more than enough time to edit your video and have it back within 2 days. So, and we just follow that model for every single video. We work one video at a time, and it really just helps make sure that all your videos look good.
Okay, so now I have a more personal question, and it's about your routines. What are the daily habits maybe you have, and how are they different than they were before?
At first, when we were first starting, our daily routine was to take care of the important things first. Most of the time it was editing, right? Growth was like a luxury, right? Like, oh, we're growing, that's awesome, right?
Yeah, now that we need to survive.
Yeah, exactly. We first have to make sure our clients are happy. And so, but now that things are a lot more established and we have teams, we have managers, we have team leads, it's really just like we jump around wherever we're needed most. So for example, if operations, right, they're working with a lot, we're bringing in a lot of clients, right, and they need a little bit of help, we'll jump into operations. How can we make it more efficient? It's not that we jump into editing, it's just how can we make it better? Or another thing, like let's say quality, they're like, hey, I was hoping for more quality. How can we structure a model where we can always have amazing quality from every single editor, right, and make it easier for them? And let's say, for example, sales is struggling. That's when we'll let go of operations for the next 3 weeks. We'll jump into sales. All right, sales, what's your problem? I can't keep track of this many people. Okay, let's find these systems in place. Let's put them together and let's make it better and scalable. So that's what our day-to-day really looks like. It really depends on where the business stands at the current situation, right? So
yeah, I would say, and then going back to your question as well. I mean, when we first started this business, we did have a lot more time. We had all the time in the world. I mean, it was beginning of the day to the end of the night where we could work on the business. I think things are a little different now. I mean, I'm married, right? So I have a commitment outside of work as well. And so it's you know, we have work hours that we follow. And at this point, it's, you know, we've grown so much. We have such a great team that's able to take on so much work now, that, you know, if we can't finish something, we can give it to the team or we can finish it tomorrow. Just because we've been getting so busy lately, and that we got to make sure to keep work within work hours.
Yes. No, I think it's okay to work really hard at the beginning, but it's important to maintain yourself and keep yourself healthy throughout the rest of our entire lives. We're doing this for the rest of our lives. So
I get it. But now I would like to ask something else. And you know, until now we have been talking about some very cool strategies, but most of them have been about how to jump from 0 to 1. You know, we have been talking about hiring a sales team, hiring, in your case, editors that can do these operative tasks. But this is all for, you know, proof that you have a business, you know, to prove that your company is profitable and there's something interesting there, right? But once you have proved that, what's the next step? You know, how to jump from 1 to 10?
Yeah,
I have the answer for that.
Me too. I'll let you
So
go first.
my answer is you need to hire. Don't get greedy quick, because people make $100,000 and that's more than what you make in college, right? It's the dream. But then they stop because 100,000 is enough to survive. In fact, it's more than what I pay myself right now, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, it's like when Ball and I both started, every dime that we made, we brought right back into the business. And we started building our staff first, to the point where we literally, till this day, we don't have to work anymore. Every department is filled that we need so far, every single one. We don't have to come in. But I choose to because I want this to grow faster. But the reason why we saw the growth that we saw was because we were not greedy and we sacrificed. All the money that we made went straight back. So that way I didn't spend hours learning how to graphic design, on how to make our logos and everything else. I just hired a graphic designer.
Yeah. I think too many people think that it's so hard. It's really not. It's so hard when you're doing everything yourself.
Yes.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
Mhm.
But what about when you have 5 different people that are splitting the responsibilities? One that's focused on growth and sales, one that's focusing on maintaining your customers happy. You know what I mean? So it's like, get the right team in place so you can truly scale, because you can't scale with one person. And on top of that, your mindset has to be right. You can't be thinking that $1 million is hard to hit. You can't be thinking that it's impossible. You know, I credit a lot of our success to Grant Cardone with this whole 10x mentality. It'll change everything. You know, read his books if you haven't.
Amazing. David, Vale, do you have any mentors? I'm curious about it. You just named Grant Cardone, but do you have maybe any other mentors that you consider you have learned a lot of them?
I would say we do have different types of mentors, like Grant Cardone, Russell Brunson for marketing. But at the end of the day, and every business owner and a great entrepreneur will tell you the same thing, that you cannot prepare for the problems that are going to come. You just can't. It is impossible. So the reality is you just got to do it. You do it, and once you see the problem in front of your face, you're losing, like we've lost like hundreds of thousands of dollars just because of problems that we couldn't predict. But because we lost that money, we were forced to react fast. It's like, okay, well, we're losing all this money. How do we fix it? So we all sit down panicking. It's like, we need to do this, then we need to change that. And like that, you just go on this constant scale of growth. Because the reality is I can go back 2 years and I would have never guessed that these would have been the problems that almost collapsed, our business.
That's massive. But David, I really appreciate that answer. I think it's a pretty good one. But now I have another question, and it's about hiring. How do you hire people? But I mean, you look in your competition to their editors, their directors, and you just go for them, or you post your requirements in Facebook, maybe LinkedIn, you name it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have two main places that we're posting for hiring. The first one is Indeed. I don't know if here in the US it's super popular for hiring employees, where employees post a job and employees apply. And it's the same thing with Facebook as well. So both of those, and we're usually finding a good amount of candidates through there.
And is there the same process for hiring, an operative employee than a manager? You look in the same places. It's the same process, or is it different in any way?
At the end of the day, we're hiring people from the same places. But with our managers and our team leads, normally those people are coming from people that are already hired here. So when someone's an editor and we have a team lead position available, they normally just get hired up. But pretty much everyone is coming through Facebook and Indeed.
I get it. Let's talk about the culture of your company. How have you built that? And what could you recommend to any entrepreneur who wants to build the culture of their company?
Yeah, look, when you're building a company that you have an office when there's employees here every day, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever it is, culture is huge part of your employee success, because you don't want your employees just leaving. Everybody here is so cool. We just built a custom room over there where people can just hang out, play video games, foosball, talk, all these things.
But on top of that, every single Friday we meet with the entire company and let everybody know what we're doing, right? Because it's important that they're involved as an individual. It's like, guys, these are the people we're going to be signing. These are the things that Val and I have been working on while we've been gone. This is the direction that the company is heading. Because at the end of the day, this wouldn't be possible without our editors. So it's important that they know exactly what's happening within our company.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're close to finish this podcast, Vale and David. But what books or maybe podcasts, I don't know, any kind of resources will you recommend to the audience?
So I 100%, if you're looking for marketing, I 100% recommend Russell Brunson. The book I would say you want to read is the .com from Russell Brunson, just .com. And that has taught me almost, like, you get into the sequence of books, but he will teach you the fundamentals of marketing. He's not going to teach you what's working today or what's working tomorrow. Like Facebook ads, for example, was popping 3-4 years ago. Anybody could be profitable on Facebook 3-4 years ago. But that's different now. You can't be profitable anymore. It's hard to be profitable. And so read that book. It teaches you the fundamentals of marketing. I would say that's a huge book I recommend people to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say mine. I hope a lot of people have already read this book, but I think it really just puts you in the right mindset. I think at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is about mindset. So I'm going to go back to the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Really just sets you up. It's, if you can't read that book and get something good out of it, you're not set to be an entrepreneur. Read it, be inspired by what he's achieved, and really this 10X mindset that he's kind of brought to all these entrepreneurs and go hard, run hard.
At the end of the day, if you think $1 million a lot and you think, oh, that's where I want to finish, it's like your mindset's twisted. It's completely twisted. It's like we're just getting started. I still feel broke, and so that's what Grant Cardone will teach you, mindset. That's the only thing you need to be successful, in my opinion, a strong mindset.
I get it. So this is the last question of all this interview, guys. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur that is just starting his project?
Yeah, that's a great. I'll go first for this one. Look, I've been my whole life since I was a kid. I'm only 21 right now, just so you guys know. But since I was 10 years old, I knew business was for me. I knew entrepreneurship was for me. But I had the wrong people in my life for it. My friends were not the right kind of people I needed to be around. So what I did in at school is I literally got rid of all of my friends that were not going to motivate my life or were not the kind of people that I wanted to be, right? So one of the big tips that I want to give everybody is surround yourself, and you hear this all the time, but surround yourself with the people that you want to be, right? This is one of my favorite quotes that I've heard. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? Pay attention to who your friends are. If they're not the kind of people you want to be or you see yourself being here in 20 years, move on. You'll be all right. It's the hard reality of life, right?
I would say, because I can give all the advice in the world, but without the mindset, you can't be successful, right? With what Bala just said. But I would say the one thing that really, if you're starting a business and you are starting from nothing, you have nothing, I would say to offer something for free. Right? When you're marketing, offer, a free book that educates them, that teaches them how to do whatever you're teaching. Anything for free. Treat it like a date, right? When you go on a date, you pay for the meal because it's like, hey, you don't know me, I don't know you, but let me give you this for free so that way we can build a relationship. Build a relationship with your clients. They're not just dollar signs. They're not.
Yeah.
You got to give way more than they give you.
Yep.
And that is the only way that you can find true success in business.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, and last one, because I think this is very important that people forget. You gotta have fun.
Yeah.
You gotta have fun. Yeah. It's gonna be so hard, but so much fun, and you have to fall in love with the journey, not the prize. Like we just recently bought ourselves some brand new sports cars, right? That's great, but I have had so much more fun throughout this whole process than driving around that new car. I love it. But it's you gotta enjoy the process. You gotta fall in love with what you're doing, and it's gotta be fun.
If you look at like even just when we post stories, there's nights where we will hit all-nighters, right? It'll be 9 p.m. The night's over. We're eating, and we're like, hey, this is broken. Let's go back to the office and fix it. Okay, let's stay up all night. Okay, and you can see smile on our faces. It's like yes, because this is what it takes to be successful. Do what nobody else is willing to do. And so you'll see smiles on our faces every single day because I genuinely enjoyed it. I loved working so many hours. I loved staying up all night working on our website and having my team coming in the morning when I've been there all night. It's such a great feeling, right? So enjoy the process.
Y bueno, querida comunidad, eso ha sido todo por el podcast del día de hoy. Espero que lo hayan disfrutado tanto como yo. Creo que ha habido demasiado valor en estos minutos de conversación. Yo me llevo un montón de cosas y espero que ustedes también. Si les gusta este tipo de contenido, denle like al botón de abajo y por favor también denle un montón de cariño a Vale, a David y sobre todo a Dava Marketing, que se han dado el tiempo de estar aquí con nosotros. Les voy a dejar todas sus redes y todos sus links en la descripción del video para que puedan ir a seguirlos también y aprender de ellos en el día a día. Entonces eso es todo de mi parte del día de hoy. Cuídense mucho y nos vemos en el próximo podcast. Adiós.